My wife whispered at candlelit dinner, "I'm in love with someone else." I set down my fork, took a slow sip of water, and replied, "Good to know." Then I cashed out the retirement fund I controlled in her name and moved out overnight. By morning, her new man called me, begging for help. I'm Arthur, 42, a financial advisor who sees life as a balance sheet: assets, liabilities, projections. For 15 years, my wife Jacqueline, 40, had always been in the asset column. We weren't a rom-com couple, but we had stability, trust, and a well-planned future, or so I thought. We were sitting in our favorite Italian place when she dropped the bomb. The restaurant had the checkered tablecloths, the smell of garlic bread that clung to your clothes. Halfway through the calamari, she set her fork down, eyes fixed on her hands instead of me. Her words didn't land like an explosion. They landed like a final entry in a ledger, quiet, irreversible, permanent. I didn't shout, I didn't cry. Instead, I looked at her. Really looked, seemed lighter, almost relieved, like she had just admitted to buying a designer bag and expected me to sigh and pull out my wallet. When I said good to know, her relief curdled into confusion. "That's it? Good to know?" she asked, clearly expecting drama. "What else is there to say, Jacqueline? You've made a new investment in your emotional portfolio." "I'm simply acknowledging the transaction." She stared at me, almost disappointed. No tears, no screaming, no desperate plea, just calm acknowledgement. I finished my calamari. The waiter came, and I ordered veal parmesan. She pushed her salad around her plate in silence. Dinner ended with nothing more than the clink of cutlery. At home, she packed a small bag and went to the guest room, saying she needed space. I told her to take all the space she needed. I meant it. Because while she was lying awake rehearsing a future with someone else, I was in my office preparing to dismantle the one we had built. Here's a crucial detail. 8 years ago, when she left her old marketing job, she had a solid $401k. Qley had no idea what to do with it. I, being the numbers guy, suggested rolling it into a self-directed IRA to avoid management fees and streamline things. Gosh. She signed over a durable power of attorney for that account, granting me full control. Over the years, I grew that nest egg from $80,000 to just over $212,000. It was supposed to be our safety net, our future. Now, it was my leverage. That night, while she claimed her space, I logged into the brokerage account. I hit submit sell order for everything. The market was closed, so it would all execute at the opening bell. By the time Jacqueline's new chapter began, mine was already in motion. The next morning, Jacqueline barely looked at me as she made her coffee. She had that air of someone who thought she was in control, like she'd already moved her king across the chessboard and was waiting for me to topple my pieces. I kissed her on the cheek out of habit, then headed to my office. What she didn't know was that by 9:35 a.m., her retirement fund was liquidated and transferred into my account. The beauty of numbers is they don't lie and they don't hesitate. Over $212,000 became available cash in less than 10 minutes. I didn't feel guilt. I felt clarity. This wasn't theft. It was closure. She gave up the marriage. Her nest egg went with it. By evening, I had a moving company at the house. I packed only what was mine: my clothes, my books, my guitars, and every financial record that mattered. Watching the movers load the boxes into the truck felt oddly liberating, like I was watching the balance sheet correct itself. Assets and liabilities, properly divided. I left Jacqueline a note on the kitchen counter. "Good luck with your new investment. Consider this my final withdrawal. Short, efficient, no drama, just the way I like it." That night, I moved into a furnished condo downtown, walking distance from my office. Clean slate, new environment. The next morning, I woke up to 20 missed calls. At first, I thought Jacqueline was finally realizing the extent of her mistake. But no, it wasn't her. It was him, the new man. When I finally picked up, his voice was panicked, urgent. "Arthur, hey. I need to talk to you, man." The irony almost made me laugh. Here was the guy my wife had chosen over me, calling me like I was the only lifeline left. I didn't say much, just listened. He rambled about not being prepared, about things being complicated, about financial pressures he hadn't anticipated. Apparently, Jacqueline had painted him a picture of an effortless life upgrade, minus the reality check. By the time the call ended, I realized something crucial. He didn't love Jacqueline. He loved the idea of her. The version of her that lived in candlelit dinners and whispered confessions. But the version that came with bills, responsibilities, and the wreckage of a dissolved marriage. He wasn't ready for that. Meanwhile, Jacqueline texted me that afternoon. Single line. "We need to talk." I didn't reply. Instead, I sat back in my office chair, logged into my accounts, and looked at the numbers again. Mortgage paid off. Emergency fund boosted. Investments diversified. My future was cleaner, sharper, more secure without the weight of a partner who saw me as just another line item. That's when I realized I hadn't lost anything. Jacqueline and her lover had. 2 days later, I was in the middle of a client meeting when my phone buzzed again. Same number, her new man. Against my better judgment, I answered. His voice was strained, desperate. "Arthur, listen. I don't know what Jacqueline told you, but she's a lot. I can't keep up with her spending. She wants trips. She wants restaurants. She wants everything." I muted the line and excused myself from the meeting, then unmuted. "And you're telling me this because—" He hesitated, then blurted, "Because she said you'd help, that you'd still take care of her." That was the moment I nearly laughed out loud. Jacqueline left me for greener pastures, and now her new pastor was calling me, begging for fertilizer. I didn't owe him a dime, but his panic confirmed what I already suspected. Jacqueline wasn't in love. She was in withdrawal. Withdrawal from stability, from comfort, from someone else paying the tab. Later that night, Jacqueline herself finally broke the silence. She showed up at my condo unannounced. I didn't invite her in. She stood in the hallway, arms crossed, eyes red. "Arthur, we need to talk." I leaned against the doorframe. "About what?" "You made your choice." Her voice cracked. "You emptied my retirement account. Do you know what you've done?" "Correction," I said calmly. "I managed an account I was legally authorized to manage. You signed that power of attorney? I used it to secure my future after you ended ours." She looked stunned, like the consequences of her whispered confession at dinner were only now sinking in. "You can't just walk away after 15 years. I shrugged. "You walked away first. I just followed the math." She left in tears, but not before muttering something about how her new man wasn't ready for this. That told me everything. She'd traded security for excitement, and now she was realizing the fine print she never read. Excitement burns out fast when the bills come due. By the weekend, word had spread among our mutual friends. Some called to check in on me. Others texted that Jacqueline was venting to anyone who would listen, painting me as the cold-hearted numbers guy who abandoned her. I didn't correct them. Let her spin. The narrative. Truth has a way of surfacing on its own. Sure enough, Monday morning her new man called again. This time his voice was lower, defeated. "Arthur, she's talking about moving in. I can't do this. She's too much." I almost felt bad for him, almost. But then I remembered the look on her face at dinner, the relief she felt when she dropped her bomb. She thought she was cashing out for a better return. Turns out, she invested in a sinking stock. And I wasn't about to bail either of them out. The breaking point came faster than I expected. That Thursday night, I got another call, but this time it wasn't her new man. It was Jacqueline. Her voice was shaky, tired, stripped of the confidence she usually wore like armor. "Arthur, please. He's not who I thought he was." I stayed quiet, letting her fill the silence. She went on, "He's drowning in debt, credit cards, loans, everything. He wanted me to help him pay it off. Said I should use what's left of my retirement account." I couldn't stop the bitter laugh that slipped out. "What's left, Qley? There is no what's left, I told you that." She sniffled. "I thought he loved me." "I thought you thought he was your upgrade," I cut in, my voice steady. "But he was just another liability. And liabilities don't build futures. They destroy them." There was a long pause. For the first time in years, Jacqueline sounded small. "Arthur, can we just talk? Please. I miss what we had." I didn't answer. Not directly. Instead, I asked the question that had been burning in my mind since that dinner. "Tell me, Jacqueline, when you whispered those words, 'I'm in love with someone else,' was it worth it? Is it worth dismantling everything we built?" Her silence said more than words ever could. That weekend, mutual friends started reaching out again. One of them let slip that Jacqueline had tried to move in with her new man, but he'd pushed back. Apparently, he wasn't ready for the reality of her demands, her lifestyle, her expectations, her constant need for validation. The whirlwind romance had soured into arguments and unpaid bills. Meanwhile, I was doing better than ever. The mortgage was gone. My condo was fully mine. For the first time in years, I felt light, free. I poured myself into my work, into clients who actually appreciated my advice, into building a future that was mine alone. Then, on Sunday afternoon, I came home to find Jacqueline sitting on the steps outside my building. No makeup, hair pulled back, looked nothing like the woman who once commanded rooms with her presence. She looked defeated. When she saw me, her eyes filled. "Arthur, I made a mistake. I see that now. I chose wrong. I should have stayed with you." I stood there, keys in hand, and felt nothing but clarity. "You didn't just choose wrong, Jacqueline. You chose yourself. And now you're reaping the return." She reached for me, but I stepped back. "I don't owe you a rescue. Not anymore." Her face crumpled, but I turned away, unlocking the door. For years, she had been the one holding the power. But now the balance sheet was clear. She was a liability I had already written off. By the following week, word had spread like wildfire. Jacqueline's shiny new romance was over. Her new man had finally admitted what I suspected all along: he couldn't afford her. It wasn't some financial savior. It was a sinking ship, and she had strapped herself to the mast. Mutual friends told me she moved her things into his place, only to be kicked out within days. Arguments over money, fights about bills, shouting matches that ended with her dragging her suitcase back out to the curb. The dream she traded our marriage for had dissolved before it even began. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed constantly. Texts from her, voicemails, each one more desperate than the last. "Arthur, I don't know what to do. I shouldn't have left like that. You were always the stable one." I didn't respond. Stability isn't something you appreciate only when your chaos catches up to you. It's something you respect while you have it. At work, colleagues noticed I seemed lighter, more focused. Clients said I had a calmness they found reassuring. They didn't know the details, but they knew I'd weathered something big and come out stronger. Then one night, as I was leaving the office, I got a call from a number I recognized but hadn't expected. Her new man. His voice was frantic, rushed. "Arthur, man, listen, she's losing it. She keeps showing up, demanding I fix things. I don't know what to do. Please, can you talk to her?" I actually laughed. "You thought you wanted her, didn't you? Now you see the cost. She's not my responsibility anymore. She's yours. Or, rather, she was." He muttered something about mistakes, about how he didn't know she was like this. I cut him off. "Now you do, and now you deal with it." Then I hung up. That moment sealed it for me. Jacqueline hadn't just lost me. She'd lost the illusion that someone else could give her more. The man she gambled on had folded under the weight of her expectations, and she was left holding nothing. The next morning, I checked her social media out of curiosity. Gone. Every glamorous post, every curated smile, deleted. The same woman who once lived for attention had vanished into digital silence. But I didn't need to see her profile to know where she stood. Jacqueline had burned her bridges, emptied her options, and exposed herself to everyone around her. She wasn't in love with someone else. She was in love with the idea of escape. Reality caught her faster than she ever imagined. And me, I was free, untethered. Watching her collapse from the other side of a locked door, the silence didn't last. It never does with someone like Jacqueline. A week after her digital disappearance, I got an unexpected knock on my apartment door. Not her this time, her brother. He stood there, hands shoved in his pockets, eyes weary. "Arthur," he said quietly, "she's at Mom and Dad's. She's a mess. Won't eat, won't talk, just spiraling." I leaned against the doorframe, studying him. This wasn't a man trying to guilt me, it was a man carrying the weight of a broken sister. "She made her choices," I replied. "You know that." He nodded. "We all do. But you were the only solid thing in her life. She doesn't know how to stand on her own." That line stuck with me. Because he was right, Jacqueline had always been looking for someone to carry her. First me, then her new man, then whoever came next. But the truth was, there was no next. She had run out of lifeboats. Later that night, my phone buzzed with a long, halting voicemail from her. Her voice was hoarse, almost unrecognizable. She admitted she had ruined everything: our marriage, her stability, her reputation. She said she'd been blinded by excitement, by the fantasy of something new. "I traded gold for glitter," she whispered, voice breaking. I didn't call her back. It wasn't anger in me anymore. Just clarity. Some bridges once burned can never be rebuilt. Instead, I poured myself a glass of scotch, sat on my balcony, and looked out over the city skyline. For the first time in years, I felt completely in control of my own life. No games, no manipulations, just me. In the weeks that followed, I heard through mutual contacts that Jacqueline's new man had blocked her entirely. His wife filed for divorce, and his finances crumbled under the weight of legal battles. Jacqueline, without him, without me, without her carefully curated image, had gone back to her parents' house full-time. She had wanted freedom. She got it. But freedom without responsibility isn't liberation. It's collapse. As for me, I thrived. My mortgage was paid off, my finances cleaner than ever, my career sharper, colleagues trusted me more, clients respected my calm and chaos. Friends told me I seemed lighter, younger, like I'd dropped 100-pound weight I didn't realize I was carrying. One evening, her brother sent me a short text. She finally admitted it, said you were the best thing that ever happened to her. Too late, though. I stared at the message for a long while. Then I typed back 2 words. Much too, because that was the truth. Jacqueline had gambled away something steady for something shiny. And the house always wins. I finished my scotch, closed my phone, and let the night air wash over me. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't thinking about what I'd lost. I was thinking about everything I'd gained. Freedom, clarity, peace, and most importantly, myself. Made it this far? Smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and hit subscribe for more.